Memory is a mitzvah, we often say, that having a sense of memory, that the events of the deep past that happened to our people happened to us, it's not just history, but it's memory, that it's something personal, is always true. Reminded of it this week on Sunday is the 17th day of the Hebrew month of Tammuz, which is traditionally a minor fast day to mark when the Babylonians breached the walls of Jerusalem in 586 BCE and destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, the temple in Jerusalem. The Mishnah in Ta'anit tells us it's also the day that the Romans, much later, would cease the Tamid offering, the daily offerings in the rebuilt temple, and that long before that, it's the day that Moses came down the mountain and broke the tablets, threw them down when he saw the people worshiping the calf. There's a sense that there's a history to this day, and that we bring the lesson of each of those, by the way, not natural disasters. They're human-made disasters, and we try and internalize the event, knowing that things don't always turn out okay, and try to learn from it. Now, this is true for human-made events, like the ones mentioned. We're supposed to try and think of what happened, mourn, and think of how we can prevent from those things happening again or anything similar. It is also true for natural disasters. We're not supposed to assume that God is throwing punishment on somebody because they did something wrong. This is an offensive trope that occasionally packs up. Not even offensive, just sort of wrong-headed. You think of tragedies like the flooding in Texas, especially when it hits a girls' Christian camp. Nobody's being punished for anything they did wrong. It is the way of the world that sometimes there'll be natural disasters. It is our job, the tradition teaches us, to try and, one, act with sympathy and understanding and proactive helpfulness when disaster strikes, and to try and mitigate the chance of it happening, like already in advance, that we're aware of it in advance and try to deal with it, and also that we don't victim blame after the fact. This is part of the tradition. This is part of why we have days of commemoration, so that we can internalize the fact that things aren't always okay. And it's not because there is a cruel God. There's a loving God that we're supposed to emulate, because God's not going to zap down solutions. God has sent us to act in this world. And that is true for the human-made tragedies that surround us. It is true for the natural disasters that surround us. We are not supposed to assume that somebody's being punished because they deserve it. Rather, we are supposed to assume that we are God's agents in this world, the tradition teaches, and we are supposed to mitigate and help. Shabbat Shalom.